Welcome to a special edition of Get Hired Live. And my name is Vivian Acquah. And next to me, I have Robin Daniels. And there is something special that we have to share, we have to announce. But to do that, I need some support from my image. So I'm just popping it up. You are watching a show special from LinkedIn Live, and you are watching a show containing two top voices. We recently got the acknowledgement that we are both top voices in career, and it is amazing. How has it been for you, Robin?
It's been a little surreal. I got the notice about 2 weeks ago, and it's very hush-hush, like confidential. Don't tell anyone that you're a top voice. But honestly, I feel like it's such an honor and a privilege to get this, because this platform has meant so much to me. And you and I can both go into it, but it's been a little surreal, but super excited to get the recognition. That's for sure.
Likewise. I mean, it's a great way to start the year, right? Having this acknowledgement. I mean, it's like a belated Christmas present.
Totally.
But we're not going to talk about the Christmas present. We are going to have a conversation about how mentorship and sponsorship can help leaders build their skills. And when I say leaders, I'm looking at all of you because I believe that everybody is a self-leader. So if you don't recognize the word leader, put self in front of it, and then you'll recognize yourself. So I'm going to hand it over to Robin. Robin, can you introduce yourself?
For sure. Well, first of all, it's great to be here with you and another top voice. Congratulations on getting the recognition as well. Now that I've gotten to know you and I've been following your content, it's super well deserved. So
thank you.
Just a quick introduction to me. I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark. It's where I am today. But I spent the last 20 years in California working at various high-tech companies, Salesforce, Box, LinkedIn. We work most recently a company called Matterport, taking a few companies public, scaled through hypergrowth, joined companies at less than 10 people all the way up to tens of thousands of people. So it's been a really fun journey. But the common silver lining between all of that is the idea of mentorship or sponsorship or advisors, or I even call senseis, who have taken a chance on me and invested in me and so on. We'll get into all of that, but that's why I'm so passionate about this subject, because it's something I really focus on today, is how do I pay it forward to the next generation to make the leaders even better at what they do.
I have to bring Sarah in because she's cheering us on. And Sarah is the reason why we have been collaborating. And thank you, Sarah. We are excited, right? We are excited.
Yes.
Excited to talk about this. It's the first time that I've done an impromptu session like this, and amazing to connect also with Robin. So my name is Vivian Acquah, and I call myself the Inclusive Workplace Wellness Advocate. It's a mouthful, but to keep things simple, I support companies, big and small, with amplifying diversity, equity, and inclusion as a DEI consultant. And I'm in this work for my child. I am inspired by my child. I've worked as a financial consultant, seen so many companies from the inside and from the outside, and also I've seen so many kitchens, bad kitchens, hell kitchens, and I call myself the the nice one though, the funny Gordon Ramsay, the much nicer Gordon Ramsay that is supporting companies in creating new magical dishes so that everybody feels safe, feels inclusive as well, and also feel warm and welcome in the company that they're working with. And when Sarah matched us together, because I told Sarah, like, I would love to, I normally don't do this on my own. I hate it. I hate to do a LinkedIn Live or live stream on my own. So I asked Sarah, I would love to have a conversation about mentorship, and then Robin came along. So let's dive in. And I see also Jason coming in. Hi, y'all. Thank you, hey, Jason. And thank you, Sarah, as well. Thank you for being our supporter in this. And let's start with you. You have a big question to ask.
Yeah, I mean, this hopefully will be a conversation that we can have to kick it off. But I also hope that anybody who's listening, if you have any questions for us, please put them in the chat, because we'd love to answer them live as well.
And we'd love to highlight you as well.
Yes, absolutely. So Vivian, let me ask you, why is mentorship and sponsorship so important to you?
To me personally, I came across this topic at a later stage, so later in my career. And when I found out what mentorship can do, preferably sponsorship, because when you look at the pay gap, when you look at the pay gap for women, also women of color, you can see that there is a huge gap. And having a sponsor, somebody who's talking about you when you're not in the room, somebody's opening doors for you so that you can amplify your career, that is huge and that is beneficial. So for me, I am aiming for, connecting with sponsorship, even though you have to activate a mentor before they become a sponsor, but that's a different stage. And I value that to infinity and beyond. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it, for me, it's honestly very similar. I mean, I 100% am where I am today because people have believed in me and taken a chance on me. Many mentors along the way, who have since then turned into sponsors. I think, as you rightly say, I always think of, for people who I've guided through various stages of their career, I always think there are 3 steps to getting to the next level of your career. Number 1 is, of course, you have to perform really well. That's an obvious one. Number 2 is you have to kind of perform you're at the next level. So if you're a senior manager and you want to get to a director, you perform like you're there. But the third one is build a chorus of support around you, because all these decisions, whenever it's about who gets promoted, who gets more responsibility, it's never just one person making it, but usually a collection of people. And the more sponsorship you have in that collection of people, the more likely it is that you're going to get promoted or get more responsibility, more pay, and all those things. That's not the same as you have to kiss ass or anything like that, but building a coalition of people around you is so important, and people don't realize how important that is. So
it's a strategic way of connecting. It's a strategic way of getting yourself known, getting yourself out there, say, hey, I matter too. And hey, this is what I've done, to support you or to support the organization. So I truly value that. And when I look at you, Robin, how has having a mentor shaped your career? If you didn't have a mentor, would you be where you are right now?
For sure not. I came from a background where I really had to hustle my way through life, just to be honest. I came up from, my parents were kind of dysfunctional and poor, and I didn't really have like a higher fancy education, from Stanford or Harvard, because this just opens doors for you. And there's nothing against that, but I kind of had to hustle my way through life. And I've done that through a lot of building the right relationships and finding people who will take a chance on me, who will believe in me and invest in me and see the potential that I have, not based on the past that I have, but based on the future that I could have. And I think that's just something that's really powerful. And it started when I was 21. I bought a one-way ticket from Copenhagen to California. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't know a single person. I'd never been. And all I had was, energy, enthusiasm, passion. And I just tried to use that to my advantage to get people to see the potential that I had. So, the first couple of weeks I was in the US, I just talked to as many people as I could, as many companies who would open their door for me. But I think because I was 21 at the time, at that point in time, you had to believe that I had something to offer in the future, because I had really no skills to speak of. And then getting in, when I got into a job, and I had a boss, and she was the VP of marketing, and she took me under her wing. She became kind of what I would classify as kind of my first mentor and sponsor as well. She both taught me about the craft of what we were doing, but also fought for me, advocated for me, which is, I think, so important. And since then, I've always thought, this is the most important thing that you can do as a leader. Your job is not to have all the answers. Your job is to fight for the people who are working for you. Show up every day and fight for the people who are working for you so they can have the best outcome possible. So yeah, it's made a huge difference in my life. I don't know about you, if you have any stories.
I do have a story, and I'm going to highlight this person, Mary Jane Roy. She has been an impactful friend, but underlining also, she has been a valuable mentor and sponsor. And the great thing is, our friendship it's an equal, how do you say it? It's an equal relationship that we have, where we support each other. So Mary Jane didn't know that I was going to highlight her. I didn't know that she was turning up live, but now she is live. That I want to say that Mary Jane has been very pivotal in my career. So the first time that I connected to a women's network, that was the first time that I came to the topic having a mentor and finding a mentor and how to reach out for a mentor. Mary Jane has secretly been my invisible mentor / sponsor. And knowing that, how valuable that is, I try to be a secret uplifter for others. I try to pour into other people, but most important thing, I have to pour into myself before pouring into other people. But I try to do that. I try to open up the gateway. If somebody has questions about how to become a consultant or how to become a DI or how to, how to go onto the entrepreneurial route, it took me a while to train my entrepreneurship muscle and then also own it. Right now, I know when I say no, it's a no, and I don't feel yucky about it. Right? There are so many comments coming in, so let me highlight the comments. Salute you all back, Fifi. Thank you. Jennifer Ryan is saying, what advice do you have for someone who might really want to find a mentor? I think we need to dive into this one because there are so many questions. So many other people are asking the same question. So it can feel intimidating to reach out to a stranger and ask them for help and advice. How have the people you have mentored approached you? And Emmanuel is sharing a similar thing. How do you keep the relationship? So let's dive in. I think mentoring is very valuable. Thank you, Joanna. Emmanuel said, I need a mentor. If you can help me connect with one, yes, we can. We are definitely going to share some tips. Thank you, Mary Jane, for sharing this. There's so many comments here, but let's dive in. What is your valuable advice that you would like to share with the people? And then I will add my advice as well.
It's a great question. It's one of the hard ones because I think it can be very intimidating reaching out to people. And the easiest, if you're in a job today, I think you can probably reach out to people in your company who could potentially be mentors. Sometimes that's your direct manager, but a lot of times I think it's not your direct manager because they might have a different, I think, mindset around how to coach you and mentor you because you're reporting directly to them. I think reaching out to people within your company, for people you admire because maybe they have skills that you want to develop or you see them conducting themselves in a certain way. I think if you approach that from a level of humbleness and learning and growth and say, hey, I've seen you, how you conduct yourself in meetings. I love the way that you deal with this or how you think about things. Can I take you out to lunch? Just start small. I wouldn't approach somebody right away if they're in your company and say, hey, can you be my mentor? I think open up the door first. Start with a small ask. Maybe it's lunch, maybe it's coffee, something like that. Even if it's now in the virtual world, remote first, you can still do that. You can still say, can we catch up for 30 minutes? I've just admired, something. Flattery goes a long way. Let's be honest around it. It's a flattery and then a little bit of humbleness. So that's within your company. You can find really great mentors. If it's outside your company, I think having a very personalized outreach has worked really well for the people that I mentor or people that I've reached out to. Like sometimes, LinkedIn is a great platform for this. I will get a ton of people reaching out saying, you've had a really interesting career. I'd like to be a chief marketing officer one day. I'm right here at this level. I'd love to get some guidance on which path to take, which skills to develop. Can you spend 30 minutes with me? And I won't say yes to all of them, but there are so many of them that I will say yes to based on the level of, I would say, heartfeltness and authenticity in the message. If I can tell that they've really put some thought into reaching out to me specifically versus just picking 100 people that they think have a great resume and just kind of scattering.
Or doing the automation message,
automation, right? So it's just like it's just not the same. And so I'll respond, and then it becomes a question. Well, how do you then help this person in the best possible way? And of course, you need to have a live conversation, I think, many times to really understand what's their ambition, what's their goal, what's their purpose, and how do you help enable that in them, whether that's hard skills or soft skills. We can talk about that as well. But that's how I would say, I mean, be very humble around it. I'll give you just a story. When I worked at LinkedIn many years ago, actually, and I was reached out to somebody. And it was one of these messages. His name was Yannick. And he said, hey, Robin, you've had a great career. I've struggled to get hired or recognized by bigger companies because they think of me as a small company person. They look at where I've worked and they don't see the potential that I have. Can I spend 30 minutes with you just picking your brain on like how to like unlock this potential? So I said, sure, let's have coffee. So I brought him into the LinkedIn office. It was a pretty cool office in San Francisco. I had a cup of coffee. We were scheduled to meet for 30 minutes. We ended up spending an hour and a half together because I was just like, the energy and passion and authenticity that this guy showed was just so real. And it ended with me actually saying, how about you come work for me? And maybe that was his plan all along. I don't think so. But I think the outreach that he had for me was just very genuine. I could tell there was like something that was just like, I have this potential. I have this desire to change the world, but I can't get people to like see it. And so that was really heartfelt, and I appreciate that. I don't know about you. Have you have any?
I love everything that you shared, and I'll just add on to what you shared. So for me, I found my mentors outside of the company. Let's say that the companies at the time that I was working for were not psychologically safe to find a mentor inside. And also a lot of companies, even we are both residing in Europe, and mentorship and having a mentor program is common in the US. A lot of big companies have them, but here in Europe, they don't have them. And I'm just like, we need to activate a mentorship program, because here you are, you're having a hard time finding new talent. Whilst what are you doing with the talent within your company? They could easily learn from each other. I've seen, big four companies. I'm not going to name the names because I have some privacy that I signed, but there are some big companies that have reverse mentoring where older generation is learning from the younger generation, and it's unlocking a lot of empathy. It's unlocking a different way of you to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. And what I would add from the mentee's perspective is, of course, do everything what Robin said, but know yourself. Know your values, know why, what is the reason why you are looking for a mentor? Because, going up the career ladder, whether it's horizontal or vertical, that's a good thing. But what's in it for you, and what's in it for the mentor?
That's right.
Find something that you could add, because sometimes some people get a lot of requests. I won't name some names, but I'm putting my hands there. And I'm just like, I cannot make space and time for everybody. And, I wish I could, duplicate myself and help so many people. But then again, why do I need to support you? Why do you want me to be your mentor? And the same thing that Robin shared about the energy. If you come with the right approach, with an authentic approach, and you tick the boxes in the things that I like. So what I would say is follow your mentor. Know what they like, know what they don't like, maybe meet them up, connect with them at a network, get to know them personally, listen maybe to a few podcasts so that you get to learn more about the personal side. I know on LinkedIn, a lot is about the professional side, even though professional and personal goes together. I do feel like when you are at an offline event or listen to them in an interview, you get to meet the other side of the person, right? Those who know me more, they know that I love talking about food. I love talking about Orlando, and I love my pink hair, for instance, or purple hair, for instance, right? So what is it that you know about the other person, and what is the value that you want to bring? Where do you see yourself? So I see a lot of comments.
Such good advice. I mean, it's exactly like that personal outreach. When I get it, one say, hey, Robin, I see that you live in Copenhagen. I was just there, or I love Legos. I'm like, it's an instant connection of you've done your research into. I mean, the other thing I would also just add is, speaking about soft skills versus hard skills, I think mentorship is especially useful for soft skills. I mean, when I get some of these outreaches around, it's a hard skill. I need to learn how to, optimize SEO. I'm like, okay, you can go read about that on Google, right?
Exactly.
Or something, but if it's about soft skills, like how do I communicate better? How do I manage up better? Or how do I deal with, conflict and so on? These are much better things, I think, to like mention in your outreach, because this is where mentors really have helped me in my life. When you're kind of coming up through your career and maybe you have imposter syndrome, maybe you're insecure, maybe you need to learn something, you want to get to that next level, mentors can really help unlock, because they can push you in a nice way, and like, this is what I would do, this is how I would approach things, and so on. This is the big unlock. And if you're reaching out to people who you want to be your mentor, that is the approach I would certainly take.
And having a mentor, it's the cool thing about having a mentor is you don't need to reinvent the wheel. What you get is an upgrade to the new wheel that you are creating, right? And that's you. So know yourself, find out what kind of person you are, and find out if there is a click. I'm an energy person. I know that connecting with people online, you don't always see that energy, but I can see it. I can, I've spoken to so many people at the moment right now that I can see, are we connecting or are we not connecting? So first of all, when you have found your mentor, it might be that there is no connection at that. So like Robin said, have a coffee, have a virtual coffee, or find out if there is any connection there. I can see a lot of questions. So how to be able to find a mentor, somebody guide me to lift up career. We answer that. So watch the beginning of the show if you can. And also Sarah is saying group point, starting small is so key. Thank you. Mary Jane is sharing, when you approach the possible mentor, be clear on what your mentoring outcome is. Yes. And if they can't do it, is there somebody, that's a valuable one. Is there somebody they could recommend who you can approach? And also another thing that I would like to add, normally a mentor program or a sponsorship program, it lasts about 1 year. The valuable thing is, don't let that relationship end after the program is done. Stay in touch.
Totally.
Because you never know what kind of value you can add for that mentor or sponsor, and vice versa. So always try to keep the relationship warm, so that you just check up, follow up, do a follow up once per quarter if the mentorship program is out there, or maybe every 2 months, or maybe every month, so that the mentor has your name in mind. Maybe there's some, there's a request out there, and who's top of mind? You.
That's right. I think it's a great point. The other thing I think I would add to that is, besides starting small with your requests and so on, but also you gotta, I think, as the mentee, because I've also had mentors myself, you gotta earn the right of the relationship a little bit. I mean, of course, it's a two-way street. Don't get me wrong, it's certainly a two-way street. But I've had some who I've mentored or who wanted my mentorship, and they just start bombarding me with requests. I'm just like, we're all busy people. So if you're reaching out to people and you want them to like be your mentors, start small, earn the right over time, versus just like, okay, they've had a meeting with me, now I can just text them, WhatsApp them, or just email them every single day. Because I've had a few of those where it's like, it's a little off-putting as well. It's because it's a very fine balance. Over time, maybe you earn the right, it becomes this relationship where like best friends. But in the beginning, it's kind of like you're getting into it, right? You're getting into it. So
work on building that relationship. I think that everything that the most valuable aspect of having a mentor or connecting with a sponsor is building that relationship, because I'm in it for the long term. I'm in it to grow. And as being on the receiving side, so as being a mentor, to me, it makes me proud to see people following up my advice, even though it's just one thing, or it may be one small thing, but to the world, it may be small, but to that one person, it's huge. And you can definitely have an impact. It feels like paying it forward without putting it out there as well. Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. Sarah is in it still. How would you ever recommend finding a mentor for certain hard skills? I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I wouldn't say no. I mean, like a good one is presentation skills.
Yeah.
I think finding I mean, one of the key skills you have to learn in life if you want to, I think, get to the next level. Not for everybody, for everyone, but communication is so important. Yeah. And communication certainly is a soft skill, but it can also be a hard skill, like how you present information, data, and so on.
Don't overkill people with your PowerPoints.
Exactly. So finding people is a perfect example of like finding people who you admire, who maybe look at their YouTube videos, maybe look at some of their LinkedIn content, like people who are like good at presenting themselves, like figure out how to do that. Because again, if you want to get from manager to director to VP to C-level executive, I can guarantee at some point you will be asked to go present information, and that skill will take you really, really far. So yeah, there are certain hard skills, probably others. I don't know, Vivian, if you have any that you can think of, but that comes to mind for me.
To me, woo, there's so much that I can share. But while you were talking, I was also thinking about what to do if your potential mentor says no. I would say, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. For those who know Aaliyah, that's that song. You have to have your list of potential mentors, you know, rank them from 1 to 5 and reach out to them. But be mindful, though, that you don't reach out to them at the same time. Put some time in between it, and then eventually you get an answer. So for you, I would say reach out to your number one, wait for 2 or 3 weeks. If you haven't heard from them, go on to the next one as well. And I'm also seeing, this is a personal for you. I don't know him, but he seems to know you.
I know. How's it going, Ty? Good to see you, man.
And also, yes, I am shy and introvert. Let me tell you a secret. People may seem to think that I am an extrovert, ambivert, maybe because of my profile and my hair. But let's say I'm 60% introvert, and it used to be worse. And the way that I trained myself or got an over in it is doing podcasts, connecting with people, going to smaller gatherings to connect with people. So find out ways for you to be able to connect. Introverts can connect easily, but know when to unwind, when to walk away when it's too much for you as well.
Totally. Yeah. You know, as we were getting announced that we were top voices, right?
Yeah.
We were all giving, like, I think, advice and tips. And one piece of advice, this was more for interviewing. I said, always, if you go into an interview, always make sure that the interviewer thinks of having met you as one of the highlights of their day, like that you're bringing something to this meeting, this interview. Honestly, I think it's the same with mentorship. Again, this is not where you have to like pretend to be something you're not or fluff yourself up, but at the same time, it's a two-way relationship. You know, you don't want to have the relationship where one person goes into it thinking it's heavy or wow, it's draining, right? So I think there's a little bit of like being real about what you want to develop and what you want to become, but also, again, giving back, making sure that it's not just about you taking, but also you giving to the other person. So think about that when you go into this situation. Like, what can you get? You covered it earlier, Vivian. I think it's such a good point. But it has
to be a two-way street, though, because I've dealt with mentors where it almost seemed like they were lecturers. And it didn't end well. Let's keep it like that.
No, it's very off-putting. I've done the same. Where it's a half an hour update call, and they're just talking to you. You're like, okay, wow, okay, that's really off-putting.
Exactly. So here is Mary Jane. She's sharing. Oh yeah, Sarah also mentioned the comment about adding a note. LinkedIn has so many features, but LinkedIn has a feature where you can add notes. And also sometimes when I really want to connect with somebody, I sometimes use voice notes. Once I'm connected, use a voice note so that they can hear the tone of my voice and have a quick chat. Even though voice notes only last 1 minute, I know, hopefully LinkedIn can work on that a little bit longer, 2 minutes. Some people need longer, but to use a voice note or use something personal to connect with somebody so that they open up for you. And also, there is a feature where sometimes you can see on a person's profile that they are open for having coffee. Look at that as well. Yeah.
It's a great point.
Definitely
make it. I mean, it's kind of like you get reached out to on LinkedIn and then instantly we call it, being pitch slapped, right? It's like, wow,
I delete those messages.
Everyone does, right? And it's one of the downsides of having an open platform. I mean, there's luckily way more benefits, but and it making sure that when you're requesting to connect with someone, do it for the right reasons. Do it because you want to add value. You want to connect, engage, and this is the most about this is how we keep the community strong between all of us. We're all there because we learn so much and we engage in it because we want to, because it enriches our lives. You just gotta like treat it in the right way. It's like a little thing that needs to be nurtured, right?
True, and I also see another add-on to what I shared. I mentioned having a top 5. No, don't let them know that they are number 5 or number 2. Nobody likes that. It's only for you. It's only internal for you. It's only for you. So let's get back to,
The other thing is also, what I would highly recommend is having a diversity of the mentors that you have. Right? I mean, I mean, if you want to grow, certainly your skills and your potential, but also your thinking and as a human being, having people, you know, that are diverse from you, I think is just so powerful. It just opens up your mind to so many different perspectives that will only help you. Because again, if your goal is to become a leader, you will have to deal with that. So learning to deal with that in the right way, I mean, it's invaluable, if you ask me.
Especially for leaders who are feeling challenged with the talent turnover at the moment, or finding people at the moment. I would say look at your team, look at the team dynamics, and look at who's missing. Who can add value? Don't look for the culture fit. Who can add value and create that safe space so that everybody feels welcome? But also, I would encourage for people to, yes, it's good to find in-company mentors. Look for your company. If they have a mentorship program, sign up to become a mentor, sign up to become a mentee. Just because you think that you are young doesn't mean that you don't have value to add, because I don't TikTok. Yes, I'm one of these people that don't TikTok. But if I would have a mentee, not that I'm looking for somebody, I'm just putting a hypothetical here. If I would have a mentee to learn more about TikTok, I would easily go to a younger person, because it's their generation that knows more about that, right? So don't cancel yourself out just because you think that you are young. You have different experiences that can add value for somebody else as well. What do you have to say, Robin?
I concur. I mean, totally.
Okay, let's go back to the questions. This was your question, but I would love to ask you, what in your case, what is the pro and con of dealing with having a mentorship relation in the remote first?
I mean, I put this question in because it's something I've struggled with myself. And so I'm just curious. Like, I don't feel like there's not a great answer, but there are pros and cons. The pro is certainly that the world is your oyster. You can reach out to anyone, anywhere, and it's more accepted. It used to be, you kind of had to know people either in your company or in your local area. It's the easiest. Now I think it's great. You can reach out to anyone, anywhere. If you're in Europe, reach out to people in Asia or in the US, and vice versa. It's awesome. I think the hard part is sometimes it takes a little longer, I think, to break down the barriers between us as humans. And that's just, again, my experience, but I've also, I feel like, talked to enough people that I feel like that's a common theme, is you can get to a core truth, which is important, I think, in mentorship, but it takes a little while. You have to like break down the barriers. And that's a little harder when you're just seeing people basically their face up. Because a lot of, I think, being able to guide people, talk to people, understand them, coaching, mentorship is seeing people's body language, right? And you can kind of see if they're sitting like this, with their arms crossed, they're not really receptive to what you're saying, or they're leaning back. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And that's a little harder, I think, in a remote first world. Again, lots of benefits to it. So I'm like, the pros and cons, and I certainly sometimes miss being able to go in for a walk and talk, which is my preferred way of doing it. But there are other benefits, is I can still connect to people that I used to know for a long time over in California. So that's beautiful. I can do that from anywhere, anytime. Yeah, it's great. What about you?
Awesome. For me, I'm lucky to have my mentees and mentors in a space where I can see them, where I can have access to them. I have done so many workshops online and training that I ask my mentors or mentees to sit back a little bit so that I can see beyond this, beyond the face, because you're right, especially with the training that I provide, it's important that I read body language, or else I don't see everything that is happening. And then again, I do encourage people to reach out to people that don't live nearby them, that they admire. reached out to them via LinkedIn, Twitter. There are so many other platforms that are valuable there. But then again, on LinkedIn, you can read more into their posts, what they like, where they react, what they react to, and learn more about them as well. So I would say it's a tough one. It's a tough one because I am an ambivert and I love to meet people offline, but on some days I love to meet people online. So there is no wrong or right answer for that. Look into what your preference is. If your preference is meeting up face to face, then find a mentor that is close by. If your presence is meeting up with somebody online, find somebody online. If your preference is hybrid, find the best of both worlds. And I don't have one mentor for one thing. I have multiple mentors, and some people don't even have claimed the label mentor, because some people are invisible mentors. They give you advice, or you go to them for advice to support you as well. So sometimes, it's not always needed to.
The other reason I think it's also can be challenging, especially if you're seeking out mentors for the first time, is you have to do an extra amount of work to keep top of mind. And I don't think the mentors mean ill, but if you're not seen every day, it's just like it's easy just to like move on. Everyone's lives are busy. That's when I felt personally it was a little easier when I would see people. Sometimes if I had an in-office mentor, I would see them, and it's kind of a reminder. You look people. Oh yeah, you're there, Robin. Okay, let's chat next week. Now it's like you constantly have to like remind the person that you want to have mentorship from that, hey, I'm here, without being too annoying and intrusive. Right? But so it's again not impossible to do, and I think there's a
may I ask, you don't have a system for like Slack or something so that you can reach out? I use a coaching platform. I'm not gonna promote it, but I use a coaching platform where I can tag them, or I can track them, or set up a due date. That is very valuable for me, but also for the mentor, so that so that I know what they need to do, where we left off on the last time, and also know where, what are the challenges, so that they can message me in between. I do have WhatsApp, but sometimes I turn off WhatsApp, and then I'm just like, no, it's not for me.
I do not have an app, but maybe I should. I mean, that's why it's a little inconsistent sometimes. I feel in this remote first world, I'm waiting for them to reach out, and sometimes vice versa when I need to reach out to my mentors. It's like it feels a little inconsistent, but maybe I just need to have a better organization around it. That's the truth.
It helps to have a process. So Mary Jane is asking, can you speak about how to mentoring and sponsorship? Well, for everybody who feels a little bit challenged when it comes to amplifying diversity, equity, and inclusion, mentor or sponsor somebody who doesn't look like you, who doesn't fit in the culture fit, and mentor or sponsor somebody who has a culture add. And you'll be definitely surprised on what you can learn, but also what you can do to become more of an inclusive leader. Do you have anything to add on to this?
Absolutely. We kind of mentioned it earlier. I think getting a diversity of mentors will only open your brain. I mean, it's certainly, I had this moment myself, just to be real, that the mentors I had in my life were basically all Caucasian. It was white, male and female, but it was all. So I was like, and as the Black Lives Matter movement was really kind of kicking into gear, I started realizing, wow, I don't have enough diversity of perspective. I need to seek it out. So I sought out people of color who could help me as much as I could help them, specifically. So to have this relationship, and it's really opened my mind and my eyes a lot. So I think it can only help you because, again, as a leader, you need to understand all perspectives. It's the only way to lead with empathy and compassion. So definitely go for it. I mean,
and if you don't know, people. Ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Just ask, because at least I don't expect the leader to know it all. We have to stop thinking that leaders need to know it all. They can find it out. I mean, we live in a day and age where I used to go to encyclopedia into the library. And I'm maybe saying something about my age here, but we used to have libraries. Now we have Google. We have so many other platforms.
ChatGPT.
Yes. We have a lot of ChatGPT, but I wouldn't say, yeah, that's a whole, you're touching a whole different conversation here. Let me highlight Dirk. Dirk Peter is sharing, hi Vivian, hi Robin, great to see and hear you on mentorship. Like you just mentioned about diversity in mentoring age, a practical tip I once learned: get 2 mentors, get as much mentors as you need, as long as you pay attention to the relationship building and that you don't over ask them. That's a valuable thing. Yes.
Love it. It's an awesome tip for sure, because there's so much to learn from anybody, right?
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes the younger ones maybe not have the same wisdom because they don't have as many experience, but they have other perspectives that you could really benefit from. Love this tip. Yeah.
Definitely. I have to check in with Robin. We are at 40 minutes right now. Do you want to continue? I mean,
if you have any more questions, well,
yes.
I
have somebody saying some people may worry about the raised eyebrows if your mentor is the opposite gender or the perception of favoritism. This is for the in-company mentor and mentee relationship. What are your suggestions with dealing with it? That's between you and your mentor. I would say don't be bothered by it, because you have invested in this relationship, you have invested in your career, and there might be some favoritism added in it, but it's not upon you to mitigate their bias, the other people's their bias. So I would say do what you need to do and level up.
I would also say, just to add to that, I understand if the question's more, if it's somebody and their direct manager, then it could seem maybe like you're favoriting. That's why I'm much more of a fan of actually getting mentors who are outside of your direct department. I think it removes that whole question from it's like, there's no favoritism. It's just you're trying to learn to become a better person, really, in some ways.
True.
But also, to your point, I mean, it's between you and the mentor, really. Yeah.
True.
But you also don't have to announce it and talk about it to everyone. That's also, I think, a little weird, right? I think it's a private thing. It's kind of like seeing a psychologist or a coach in some ways. You know, you can keep it private, right, as much as you can.
Yeah. True. I see Tay here. Same here, Vivian. Love the connection with the whole person, being and sharing via offline, online. Yes, sometimes it's better to have a walk. Did you know that you can have a walk and talk by the phone or Zoom or whatever?
Yes. I love those. I love that.
Being able to hug or connect on a deeper level. Yes, ask consent before you hug somebody, though. Just putting it out there. Dirk Peter from Awesome, love the tip. Make absolute sense. Can feed, and I can read the rest, or be fed. Yes. Ty, still looking for a good mentor in variety and fields myself. Make the list. Do the exercise yourself. So what are the questions that you would like to have answered? Who are you looking for? What are the qualities that you're looking for? And then go on LinkedIn or go into your inner circle and find your mentor. What about you?
Totally. I mean, I think that's exactly right. I mean, I've known Tay for a while, and he's incredible at connecting and commenting and engaging with people online. Now it's about taking that to the next level and finding the people who he admires and who has skills that he wants to develop, and connecting with them again on that channel. Honestly, it's kind of like any kind of outreach in some ways. You'll probably get some no's, but there might just be some yeses in there too, and that can change your life. Yeah.
Awesome. And the last one, what about mental health support mentors and leaders? Yes.
That's a great one. That's a great question, for sure. I mean, this is also the beauty of something like LinkedIn. I mean, there's a lot of people writing about mental health these days because burnout is real, mental health issues are real. I mean, you can find great people who can guide you through, who've been through a lot themselves, whether that's layoffs or challenges or conflict at work, whatever it is, or maybe just stress because you're feeling overwhelmed. You can definitely find it, but I would definitely have some of those in your corner as well. Like Vivian, you said earlier, and I agree, you have mentors for different aspects of your life. And this is one of the most important ones for sure.
That's true. And this is also one of the reasons why I would go out for outside mentor instead of an in-company mentor, because with them, you are able to disclose whatever is, whatever challenges you are facing within the company without naming the person. So what I normally do is I talk about Disney, and Cinderella did something about Disney or something else, because it's not about the naming and the shaming. It's about the incident, and it's about the situation and what you can learn from that instead of naming and shaming. But I do feel like when it comes to mental health, know that you need to pour into yourself. Finding a mentor, you need to pour into yourself and create that energy where both of you add value to each other's life, right? There are some leaders that are really open about, mentors that are really open about talking about mental well-being, talking about burnout, yet there are some people that don't. So find the person that you feel connected to, but also feel like in a way that you can share everything with them as well.
I agree.
Yeah. Anything to add, Robin? This was the last question.
I think we're good. It's been a great conversation. I love the questions as well and the tips that we've gotten. So thank you. I
would like to challenge Robin. I don't know about you, but how would you feel if we maybe do a bi-monthly? I know I'm too busy to do a monthly, but a bi-monthly, and ask the people, what is it that they want us to talk about?
That would be super fun. I love it. I love the chemistry. Yeah. So let's do it.
Sarah, see what you have done? It's your fault, Sarah. No,
I think it's a great idea.
So grateful for Sarah for connecting me with Robin. I really got an honest conversation, and I would love to learn more about you. I would love to support people when it comes to their career. And this has been an insightful conversation, and it went by so soon. It went by so soon. So love to have a conversation in March, since it's International Women's Day. Let's have a conversation about that.
I love it. Let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Right. Oh,
thanks everyone.
This is for you. Who can refuse Robin?
I'm in. Okay, let's do it.
Thanks, everybody. Until next time. Bye.
Thanks, Jennifer. See ya.